Welcome to another edition of Our City. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. As we talked about on last week's show, Wednesday, August 27th at 4 o'clock, I will join members of the City Council at the citywide back-to-school book bag and supply giveaway. This year, there will be 8 locations. Miller Evans Logan Recreation Center in the 1st Ward, the Exlaven Recreation Center in the 2nd Ward, the Mickey Walker Recreation Center in the 5th Ward, the Elmore Racquet Club in the 3rd Ward, Peterstown Community Center in the 6th Ward, the O'Donnell Dempsey Senior Center and the Oaks at Westminster in the 4th Ward, and the Jefferson Park Daycare Center, also located in the 5th Ward. This event is open to all school-aged children who live in the city of Elizabeth, and each center will feature refreshments, entertainment for all. And every child must be present to receive a book bag and the goodies. It will only be given to children. So for more information, please contact Grace Pereira in the City Clerk's office at 820-4130. And on Thursday, August 28th of this week, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I will attend the Kane University's The President's Address. President Dawood Farahi will welcome all of the new students and the new teachers at a reception in the Wilkins Theater located at 1000 Morris Avenue in Union. And I would like to remind all of you that City Hall will be closed on Monday, September 1st, in honor of Labor Day, a national holiday. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 820-4124. So please stay with us after this message.
Where will the next generation of scientists come from? Right here. Kane University.
Welcome back to Our City. I'm pleased to be joined on the first segment of this week's show by the Executive Director of the YWCA in Union County, Miss Jan Lillian. Jan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to be back.
Now, you've been on the show for a couple of times in the past.
Absolutely.
And just for our viewers, tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm a Jersey girl, born and raised here in Union County. Moved away for a long time and came back here about 11, 12 years ago.
And when you came back, did you go right to the YWCA, or that took some time?
That took some time. I was working in Essex County at the time, but I'm happy to be working as well as living in Union County.
Well, we're glad to have you. I mean, because the YWCA is located in Elizabeth, and you guys do a great job. So
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on at the YWCA, anything new since we last chatted, or what's old and even gotten better?
Sure. Well, as you know, the YWCA is Union County's domestic violence services agency. We offer wraparound services. And one of our newer programs is very exciting. It's called STEP. It stands for Skills Training and Empowerment Program. And it's actually workforce development specifically for victims of domestic violence. Because what a lot of people don't know is that financial abuse is part and parcel of domestic violence. A lot of victims just never get to know anything about budgeting or have the opportunity to handle their own money or really obtain and use work skills. So we're happy to be providing this. It's about a year old, and we're very excited about that program.
Well, some of the women that may be faced with the challenge of domestic violence have to also worry about their finances. And
absolutely.
So they're worried about their health and their well-being and safety first. And sometimes the finances fall by the wayside.
Right, and the key thing about this program is it offers a training in financial literacy from the perspective of safety, from the perspective of a victim of domestic violence. So how can you do all these things, restore credit, open a savings account, all the things that people need to do in a safe way.
Do you actually work with the women on opening up a credit card or a bank account or getting them a line of credit?
We do. We've worked with some banks.
And how does that go? I mean, are the banks reluctant to do it because they're victims of domestic violence?
No, actually, we've had a couple of banks that are very eager to work with us. So we're very happy about that. And we're beginning to work with employers as well.
Now, Jan, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the YWCA has always taken a leadership role here in our city. So what else are you doing or anything to support the initiative during that month?
Well, as always, we'll kick off the month with our Empowering Women Cocktail Reception. That's our signature fundraiser on October 2nd at Galloping Hill Golf Course. Hopefully you'll join us. We do a series of awareness events. We're working on logistics for our Empty Place at the Table awareness event. This will be, I believe, the 7th year in a row. And new this year is a statewide awareness campaign. We're just getting the details of it, called Purple Thursday. And Mayor, I see you're wearing a purple tie. I hope on October 23rd that you will again wear that purple tie, and we're looking to engage universities, the city,
I have another
the county.
purple tie.
Good.
I can wear it. No, I'm only kidding. But you're also in the purple dress.
Yes, we tend to wear purple a lot when we're talking about domestic violence because it is the color that identifies that.
I want to spend a couple of minutes on those 3 events you talked about. The cocktail reception at the Galloping Hill. Is it at the Galloping Hill Inn or the Red Knot? Where?
It's at the catering facility at the golf course.
At the golf course, so it's at the Red Knot upstairs,
Right.
Which is last year that went over real well, and you're honoring the Union County Prosecutor's Office and some others this year. Tell us about that.
We're honoring the Prosecutor's Office, 2 major donors it's a couple actually who've historically donated very generously to us, a Westfield couple, the Grazianos, and also Allstate Foundation, which is a major contributor to the issue of domestic violence and actually the originator of the Purple Purse campaign.
So, and when you get together, you celebrate the successes. I noticed, I think it was last year when I was there, some of the women actually stood up and told their story.
Yes, we always...
Which was extremely brave of those women.
Right. At almost all of our events, we have a survivor who tells her story. It puts a face to domestic violence because it's one of the most underreported crimes. People don't think, this could never happen to me. But by someone standing up and telling their story, you understand that it's real people.
Now, the empty places at the table, I have been at that performance as well at Kane on a couple of occasions. And the acting is maybe not Broadway style, but it's sincere.
It's sincere, and it's telling the stories written by the people we serve. So they are, in fact, real stories that we've turned into monologues.
And how does that go over? I mean, do the women mind that their story is being told?
No, actually, it means a great deal to them to tell their stories to the public.
And they get a sense of strength from that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the last is the Purple Purse Challenge.
Yes.
The reason you're in a purple dress, I'm in a purple tie, and you have a
Purple Purse.
Purple Purse here. Tell us more about the Purple Purse Challenge.
Okay, the Purple Purse Challenge was created by Allstate Foundation. And, of course, purple is the color representing domestic violence, and the purse is where a woman keeps her financial information. It's really, it's where her wallet is, her ID, and all of that. And the Purple Purse provides a way for people to talk about domestic violence in a very safe way. It raises the issue. So there's actually a website, purplepurse.com, that looks like a shopping site, but it has information about domestic violence and how to get help. And last year, this is about the 3rd year, I think, that they're doing this campaign. Last year, as you may recall, it was a very simple campaign. We passed the purse, it had a code, and we gained money every time the purse was passed. This year, it's very different. It's based on crowdfunding. And there are 200 organizations involved, all domestic violence agencies around the country. And we will be asking people to donate through our YWCA team page, and then we have actually 3 people so far have created their own team pages to be part of it. We're going to be asking staff, volunteer, board, other people to create team pages, and there's a lot of competition involved. So our page will launch on September 3rd at 2 p.m. And if we raise a certain amount of money within a certain amount of time, we're eligible to win matching money from Allstate Foundation. So Tell
us about crowdfunding. That was an interesting term.
It's something new for us. We're venturing out of our comfort zone. So I just created a team page today, and I put a message on about why I'm raising money for the YWCA. I uploaded a photo of myself, and I'm going to be asking my friends through social media and through email to donate to my page to help the YWCA, which of course will help victims of domestic violence.
Now, Jan, you've been involved in nonprofits for a while now.
My whole life.
Your whole life. So I have to ask you, this Ice Bucket Challenge thing has changed the way nonprofits raise money.
It has, and it's very interesting because it's created a lot of awareness for the cause that it's raising money for. But in an article I read today, it said it's also perhaps taking away from other charities, because if you're, and I'm trying to be very careful how I say this, if you're doing something very publicly to say, I'm doing this just for this charity, well, maybe I would have given money to that charity anyway. But maybe in my total charitable budget, now I'm raising attention to one cause, and what about the other causes that are perhaps not quite as visible? So of course I'm very passionate about the issue of domestic violence. It impacts 1 in every 4 women, more than breast cancer, ovarian cancer, lung cancer combined. So we're always very, we want to bring attention to this issue.
No, I understand that. I read the same article, and it was also in the news last night. I think what happens, though, is I think other social service agencies are now going to come up with more creative ways to raise money in concert with the ice water challenge.
There's a lot of challenges. I mean, even just having to do this crowdfunding, we've relied on social media, we've relied on events and, annual appeals. So this is really raising our ability to compete in a new arena.
So tell us about the money that's raised through the Purple Purse Challenge. Where does it go? What exactly materials and or support staff? How does it help?
Well, we will be using this directly toward our STEP program, our Economic Empowerment Program. So we're very happy we have some funding to keep this program going. It started with a Union County grant, and this will help provide perhaps tuition for women to start in higher education, perhaps supplies for them. One of the things we did for the women in our first year was we gave everyone a planner and a calculator. If you're going to organize your life and start working toward employment, you need some basic tools. So it will go directly toward keeping this program going.
Tell us about any other programs at the YWCA that you'd like to mention.
I always want to mention our hotline because it's a way for people 24/7 to get support. That number is 908-355-HELP. And we operate all the time. We get about 2,000 calls a year. It's the place to call to get help for domestic violence, referral to other services.
This may sound like a silly question, but is there a person on the other end, or is there a push-button service?
There is always a person on the other end. And we actually increase the number of telephone lines, so we have potential for four calls at once.
You do? Mm-hmm. And there's 4 people can handle those calls? Oh, good. Jan, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join us on the show this evening, and wish you lots of luck in the Purple Purse campaign.
Thank you very much.
And I'll see you at those events. I look forward to seeing them again.
Wonderful.
Thank you. For Jan Lillian, please stay with us after these messages. We'll be back with more with Joanna Gorsica from Trinitas Hospital. Welcome back to our city. I'm pleased to be joined on the second half of this show by Miss Joanna Gorsica, who is the administrator of Brother Bonaventure Extended Care Center at Trinitas Regional Medical Center. Joanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about yourself, first of all.
Well, I'm the administrator at Brother Bonaventure, as you had mentioned. I started there in April of this year, and I'm also a social worker by profession. I've worked in a number of nursing homes in Union County and in other counties, so this is
an extension of your past career, correct?
That's right, yeah.
And so your concentration
has been geriatric.
Geriatric, and are you also working with Alzheimer's patients?
Yes, and dementia residents.
Tell us about the number of people who are diagnosed with that disease today.
Well, it's quite a staggering number. There's currently it's estimated to be about 5.2 million Americans over the age of 65 who are currently living with the diagnosis. And of that, there tend to be more women than men, because women are living longer, and because of age being one of the risk factors for Alzheimer's. And the unfortunate thing is that as our population is aging with the baby boomer generation, we can anticipate that number is going to increase, most likely triple by the year 2050.
So you said age is a contributing factor.
It's a factor.
So the older you get, the more...
It's a risk factor. It doesn't mean you're going to get it, because there are a lot of your genetic history is also something that needs to be taken into consideration. But yeah, age is certainly one of the major risk factors.
So what is the most recognizable facet of this disease?
I think the primary symptom that you begin to notice is when you cannot remember new information. And I'm going to say to the viewers, have a word of caution, because just because you misplace your keys doesn't necessarily mean you have Alzheimer's. Some of these symptoms can also have an age-related reason. If you misplace your keys, but you're able to retrace your steps and can later find them, then that's more of an age-related issue, or perhaps lifestyle in terms of
If you
being
misplace your
stressed.
keys and you don't know they're used to start the car.
That's right.
That's
then
the
that's
problem.
a concern.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you misplaced your keys, or
Yeah, we all do that occasionally, maybe more than once.
but at that early stage, it's difficult.
It's difficult, and it may not be something that's immediately recognized, but as Alzheimer's is a slow disease, and it tends to get worse over time.
And the rest of the body stays healthy.
Yes.
In most
for
cases.
the most part.
For the most
yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Which is which is probably the most cruelest thing of the disease.
Yes, it is.
You know, because you could stay extremely healthy and then not know mom or dad, or not know brothers and sisters or children. So, Joanna, can lay people diagnose this, or does this have to be done? It's best to see a physician.
It's best to see a physician, and usually it's your primary care physician, because that doctor is taking into account not only your family history, your medical history, your physical history, whether or not you've had any psychiatric problems such as depression. Also looking at a history from the family member, whether or not there's been changes in behavior or cognitive ability. All of that information is taken into account. And then based upon what is told, perhaps blood tests are necessary, an MRI, or a visit to a neurologist. So once the doctor gets all of that information, he or she will sit down with the individual and talk about the diagnosis and what the plan of treatment would be.
Is psychiatric and depression make it worse?
Yes, it can exacerbate some of the symptoms. On the other hand, depression can, being depressed, you can exhibit the loss of memory. And, you know, that's why additional testing and the history from the family is important.
Joanna, in the beginning of your show, you said you also deal with dementia. I, for one, and I'm sure others, what is the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia?
Well, that's an interesting question, because dementia in and of itself is not a disease. The term dementia is used to describe the symptoms of perhaps not thinking clearly, losing memory, sometimes behavioral problems. Alzheimer's is considered one of the dementias. And
So dementia is the umbrella of the
dementia is the symptoms.
the symptoms.
Yeah, and Alzheimer's is one of the diseases. The issue with Alzheimer's is it's a slow starting, something that may not be recognizable in the beginning, but as time goes on, it can become worse. And in the latter stages, sometimes people are bedbound and need to be taken care of 24 hours a day.
Are there medications that can help either dementia or Alzheimer's, or both?
Yes. Well, medications are generally prescribed to control symptoms and sometimes to stop or to slow a disease process. With Alzheimer's, unfortunately, there is no medication that will slow or stop the disease process. But there are medications that can help control the symptoms. And that's where your doctor will need to recommend them, because not all medications work the same for individuals. Their effectiveness will vary.
I don't mean to be funny, but do people remember to take their medications in this situation?
Well, most of the time, in the early stages, having a schedule, this is why a caretaker is generally involved, a schedule of when to take a medication and constant reminders or cueing, that's very useful in the beginning. But in latter stages, you know, the medication needs to be administered by someone.
So is the care in a nursing home then, or in Brother Bonaventure, is much different than the care would be at home?
To some extent, yes. There's, in most cases, by the time the resident comes to us, they've already had the diagnosis, and a lot of times the family member has tried numerous resources in the community and is either overwhelmed by the disease process or tired because the caretaker has a very stressful time. And the nursing home decision is a difficult one for people to make. So by the time we admit someone, they've probably have exhausted all other resources.
Including the caretaker. That must be extremely difficult as
Yes,
far as the
very
issue of
stressful,
exhaustion goes.
very stressful. And, you know, there are certain things that caretakers need to consider, and one is to make sure that they take care of themselves. Sometimes it's very difficult because your energy is focused on the individual with the disease. But taking care of oneself, eating properly, getting rest, getting help from family members and friends, making sure that there is time during the week for yourself, which would help maintain a healthy caretaker.
I've heard in some cases, and I don't know if this is true, that in Alzheimer's patients, there are some very lucid moments where they recognize
Yes.
know everybody, and then 3 hours later,
Yes.
they may not know what happened.
Yeah, and that's the...
Is that a false sense of hope for the family?
Well, I think one of the things that's encouraged is that the family members read as much as they can to learn about the disease process. And even though it's difficult, to recognize that there's going to be periods of time when things are going to be familiar and other times when they're not. So it is hopeful, but at the same time, there is a realistic aspect to it.
Support groups, and how do people get information? Where do they go?
I think the best resource for families who are dealing with this disease is to get information from the Alzheimer's Association. It's a very reputable company, group. They have support groups throughout New Jersey. Family members can contact them either by phone or through their website to get information. There are numerous publications that they put out, both in English and in Spanish. And I think that would be a good start for family
And
members.
if people wanted to contact Brother Bonaventure, how would they do that?
They can contact us at 908-994-7525.
Joanna, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show and
Well, thank you.
educate some of our residents about this dreadful disease.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
For Joanna Gorsica and for Jan Lillian, I'm Chris Bolwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.
Sometimes you learn by helping others learn. Kane University.